Hello, I'm Gloria Horsley, and today I'm interviewing Dr. Howard Winokuer. Howard's the president of the Association of Death Education and Counseling, and our topic today is communicating caring. Well, Howard, people have had some tremendous losses in their life, and I'm wondering, what is it that I, as a person on the street, should say to people after loss? And also, we've had people who've had, out there that are watching this YouTube, who've had people say nasty things to them after loss. What are those things that aggravate people, and what are the good stuff?
Well, let me back up a little bit. I think the first thing that any of us need to know is that there are two things that someone who's experienced the death of someone they love want. One is to stop hurting, and two is to have their loved one back. And the truth is, we can't give that to them. So we have to understand that there are no magic words to say. Now, given that, there are some things, let me start off with things not to say. I think one of the worst things that any of us can say, and I really would like to encourage you to take this out of your vocabulary, I know just how you feel. The truth is, even if you know someone who's had a similar loss as you have, we don't really know how anybody feels. So saying that is not helpful. Another thing I think that's really almost harmful is it was God's will. Is it saying God chose you or chose me to have my son die, my brother and my mother?
Or God saved somebody else.
That's right. So why did God save them? So we really don't want to do those kinds of things. I think the most important thing is to understand, because there are no magic words to say, to give yourself permission to be there. Sometimes your presence, giving someone a hug, is more important than anything you say. For someone, for instance, if you visited a funeral home or a house of bereavement, they're not going to remember what you said, but they're going to remember that you cared enough to be there, to give them a hug. You know, you might even say, look, I don't know what to say, but I want you to know I care about you, I love you, and I'm here. So I think more than anything else, the greatest present that we can give anyone who is grieving is our presence.
Now, how about if I've had the grief, and is there a way to teach people how to treat you?
Well, you know, that's a good question, Dr. Gloria, and I'm sure being a bereaved parent, you know that you had to teach people. And I think for any of us who are grieving, it's an added burden, but we have to teach people how to be supportive. Because, let me give you an example. If your son died, now tell me your son's name?
Scott.
Scott died, and a lot of people are so uncomfortable. They don't want to see you hurting.
Right.
So the way we protect someone is by not mentioning Scott's name. So if I don't say anything about Scott, we think that, well, you're not thinking about him and it won't make you feel bad. What we need to understand is that's all you're doing is thinking about him. And that what we want to do is acknowledge that. Another really helpful thing to do is send a personal note. I mean, there are some beautiful cards that companies write, but more important than that, what I have seen a lot of people really value is a personal note. I remember someone once wrote a note that said, I didn't know your father. This was a friend whose father died, but he must have been a wonderful person because you're such a wonderful person. Share and reflect personal stories and allow what you feel in your heart to come through in what you say. Remembering, and I want to go back to this as we finish this particular moment, that there are no magic words to say, and the greatest present, the greatest gift that you can give anyone who's grieving is your presence.
Thank you, Howard.
You're welcome.
Close your eyes. loving from within, loving from within. You're coming home. You're coming home. Oh, I know your story. You've been bracing for catastrophe. Oh, but I missed you. Haven't you missed me? Let's go dive into your landscape. I trust you and all that's coming, loving from within, loving from within, returning home. You're coming home. Tare so home. Tare